The reason for email is because the key thing to protect from privacy standpoint is actually not communications and not even data. What is most important is identity. And what do I mean by that? Well, email as identity is maybe very easy to see. It is the thing that links together your whole online existence. It's the closest equivalent that you have today in the digital world to a passport. In fact, if I were to give you a choice between losing your passport versus losing your email, probably losing your email is more inconvenient, right? Your email is what identifies you online.
Yeah.
But today, your identity, in most people's cases, belongs to Google. And what does that actually mean? Well, if Google controls your identity, that's a way for them to connect all of your online activity in Google properties to a real-life identity. And that is what your profile is built around. But it's more than just Google properties. Google Ads run on most of the world's websites. Google Analytics is used by some metrics on 70% of on websites around the world.
Yeah.
So actually, Google, through its other properties, not even YouTube or Google Search or even Maps, controls and sees the large majority of the world's internet. And by having a Google account, which is your Gmail, by being signed in to Gmail, you allow Google to collect all that information into a profile linked to a real-life identity. So if you were to use Proton Mail, for example, and opt out of the Google account, actually what that means is Google doesn't have a profile on you anymore. You don't exist in their system.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly powerful. So that's why Proton's mission, we're not here to fix secure communications. It's a side effect. What we're really trying to do is provide an alternative way for you to have identity online in the digital era, and it's identity that you actually control.
Yeah.
It is not designed around exploiting you. So that's actually where you start on who you are, the essence of your being, which is your identity.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much more to what Google tracks. Like even, and I hate saying this because, this is being shared even on YouTube, but it's like the things you watch on YouTube, the stuff that you put on your calendar, all of that stuff, it gets tracked.
Yes.
Religiously. And you talked about that being very powerful to escape from that.
Yes.
What would you say to somebody like my mom, who quite honestly, when I talk to her, just says, it's just more convenient. You know what I mean? Like, what's the argument there for the power of escaping that?
Well, if we take YouTube, for example, I do watch YouTube, and I've actually watched your channel, for instance, watching it last night, right? But you know what? I'm not logged in, right? So Google doesn't, associate my identity in real life with a watcher of your channel, right? Now, I wouldn't mind if I was publicly associated with watching your channel, but there might be other channels where I wouldn't want that out there in the world, right? So that's an example where, just because I'm not logged in, because Google is not my identity provider, I have opted out of that system. I am, not in Google's database, at least as a person with a real life identity that's tied to an account. And I think that's, something that's very simple, very easy to do, but also quite powerful. And, anybody can log out. The problem is that if you log out, you lose your email. But, Proton Mail and all alternatives, this gives you a way to work around that. So I think it seems difficult, but that's a very easy, quick step that already extracts you out of that system.